Hi, I'm Curtis, and I'm going to tell you about how my wife and I made our own cat feeding robot for our household. And you may say that's kind of a weird thing to do. Why would you do that? Well, if you have pets of your own, especially cats, you probably know what I'm talking about. And the problem is not the cats themselves, it's feline behavior, right? Cats are a little OCD to begin with. They have a complicated relationship with food, and different cats have different personalities. Now, we have two cats, two boys. Jasper is a tiny prince who likes to sleep, and Ty thinks he's a dog and will eat everything in sight. So when we go away on a trip or something, we can't just leave a big pile of food out and trust that they'll both eat their fair share. So what do? Well, we didn't start the process by saying, let's build a robot, although that's a perfectly reasonable thing to say and do, especially for this crowd. We just wanted some kind of solution, and we wanted it to be automated so we could leave on a trip or something. And when I say robot, I don't mean anything as sophisticated as any of these guys, okay? We didn't need it to look pretty. We didn't need it to move around even. We're very lazy people, so we wanted to do the least amount of work that was necessary to make things turn out right. And so all I'm talking about is some very simple hardware and some very basic automation. And this is the robot. As you can see, it's very, very bare bones, but that's good because it allows us to modify the system when we need to. And most of these parts we already had around the house. The only part we bought was this aquarium feeder, which runs on the analog timer. We already had a webcam, a netbook, a bunch of power strips, all that stuff. We did build a custom ramp, which required some design work and materials research, as you can see. You'll notice that the bumpers on the ramp aren't in the original design, and this is part of the whole trial and error process that we had to go through to figure out what was going to work for us. There's a web app component to this, so we can see our cats wherever we are online on the internet. We have a VNC set up so we get live video for free, and we can also reboot the machine if we need to remotely. And this is what we'd like to see. So when the cats are fed, the feeder makes a noise that summons the cats, so they both come, they wait, the food is dispensed, they both eat, and they leave. Everyone's happy. This is good. It took us about 1.5 years to get to that point, and in the beginning, we had no idea what they were going to put up with, so we very quickly figured out they each needed their own bowl. They didn't like sharing. We had to put a barrier between the bowls so one cat didn't block the other from eating. And this is what we had at the end of 2010. And this was a very stable system until we went on a cruise for about 1.5 weeks. And then the cats did everything they could to starve themselves. So first, Ty has to run the house, but he decides he's got to play with his mouse right there by the feeder. So he messes up the rugs. Things get knocked over, but it's okay because we have a cat sitter coming in every day to scoop their boxes and such, so we just call her, tell her to reset everything. Okay, great. Next, he decides to tear out the ramp, see if that gets him more food. Well, it doesn't. All the food goes in the moat, which is there to keep the ants out, but it's okay. We call the sitter again because we can see this. Back to 1. 2 days later, this happens. Now, the good news is that we were able to identify those defects and then repair them in the next version, right? So since the start of 2011, we have had a very stable system. We taped down the feeder, we reinforced the ramp, and the only new hardware we added was this loudspeaker so that the come get food noise is audible throughout the house, even if Jasper is down the hall taking a nap. So this has been very stable, and we know it works. How do we know it works? Because we have data. So about every week we weigh the cats. So this is all of 2011, and you'll see they're gaining weight, they're losing weight, but they're doing it at the same rate because they're both eating, and that's what we want. So this is good. And even more than the data, when we see this, when we see the cats come out after the noise and wait for their food, that makes us happy because we've trained them to love the food robot or at least put up with it. Now, as I said, this is not a complicated system. You could build your own robot. You could build a better robot, one that is customized to your needs. And if you do, let me know. We would love to see your cat pictures. Thank you.